John could feel his heart pounding as the Amazon's dense shadow swallowed him whole, each step reminding him that he might never make it back. The trip was supposed to be straightforward. He and his small team were there to map an uncharted stretch of forest, but when the radio signal faded and a storm loomed over the canopy, dread started to creep in. His team joked at first, brushing off the eerie silence that had settled around them, but by the second night, things took a terrifying turn. By the third day, one of the team members vanished without a trace, leaving nothing but his backpack lying open in the dirt. As they searched desperately, hoping he'd wandered off and lost his way, fear began to tighten its grip. But when they found nothing, no tracks, no sounds, their laughter was gone, replaced with a tense silence that made the thick forest air even harder to breathe. The radio crackled to life for just a moment, a faint message warning of a deadly storm moving their way. But before they could even respond, the signal cut off, leaving them stranded with only a growing sense of dread as night fell. John's mind raced with the impossible. He felt an irrational fear that something in the forest was watching, waiting, something that had plans for them. Alone in the midst of the never-ending expanse of green, John struggled to decipher the enigmatic symbols they had stumbled upon earlier. As his water supply dwindled, he was compelled to quench his thirst from questionable, disconcertingly colored pools that left his skin tingling with unease. As he ventured deeper into the jungle, the surroundings seemed to warp and change before his eyes. Was it the effect of his mounting fear and growing sense of isolation, or was something more sinister at play? The trees themselves appeared to shift their positions, the paths before him twisted and turned unnaturally, and even the familiar landmarks he had relied on seemed to vanish into thin air. In their place, he was confronted with strange and distressing symbols, freshly carved as if to mark his path and guide him further into the unknown. He felt dizzy, feverish, and haunted by eerie sounds and movements between the trees, making his pulse race with unexplained terror. Hunger gnawed at him, and he scavenged what little he could find, but even the forest's fruits felt forbidden, almost sinister. As he wandered, he stumbled upon a clearing filled with bones, old, scattered remains that hinted at other unlucky souls who had ventured too far into the Amazon's unknown depths. As he teetered on the edge of collapse, a faint, haunting melody began to echo through the trees, luring him towards what seemed to be salvation. Despite his exhaustion, he followed the mysterious sound, pushing through the dense foliage until he stumbled upon the source. To his astonishment, he discovered a circle of bones arranged in intricate patterns that defied randomness. With every step, he felt as though he was being watched, and yet, he was utterly alone. The melody grew louder, luring him closer, and his mind began to blur, unsure if he was awake or lost in a nightmare. As he knelt beside the bones, feeling a presence close in on him, he noticed strange totems hanging from the trees, each bearing eerie, human-like carvings that felt alive. Suddenly, he felt a sharp sting on his neck, and everything around him darkened as whispers filled his ears, closing in like a tidal wave. John's mysterious death and the eerie contents of his journal sparked rumors among the locals about forest spirits and sacred grounds. And to this day, near where he disappeared, travelers claim to hear faint whispers on the wind, a haunting reminder that the Amazon keeps its secrets. Those who hear the stories know better than to ignore the warnings, but for the bold and the foolish, the jungle waits, patient and hungry.